and the responsibilities of many different facets of business out there. Yeah, I like how you corrected yourself. Yeah,
you get to pay all the bills for
I do, and I get to sweep and clean the garbage and everything else.
Go.
So, well, that's not true. My wife, Michelle, she always likes to help clean the garbage. So together we're collectively doing it as a team in many ways, keeping Hamilton strong in an entrepreneurial way.
There you go. I'm glad. I just got a quick run here of some of the stuff you want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Someplace in my little office in the house, I have a drawer full of about 800 different chargers. Because every time you get a new phone, that's not good. It doesn't work. And I don't even know where they're supposed to get plugged into anymore. But BlackBerry doesn't talk to Apple.
Right.
Who doesn't talk to, go down the list.
Well, you're unique in your own right because you use Apple, though.
I know if somebody's listening, you say, they make universal ones. Yeah, but they're low quality.
They're very low quality. And Apple specifically, which I know I'm a Samsung Android guy. You're an Apple guy. You have to change it with every upgrade, which is why I always say to Bill, why are you still using that old quality? But the answer is, truthfully, it's always the wireless cable. It's why would I upgrade when I have to get a different cable? And Apple was famously constantly changing the adapters for their laptops to their phones constantly. Well, the European Union has had enough, and they've more or less good on them.
They booted the UK out, and now they're changing the chargers.
The world is going to be a different place, I can tell you, in a year from now. And one of those big changes is, of course, they have now instituted a universal plug, which is very critical. And I believe, like you just described, BlackBerry and Apple and Android, why is it they all can't get along? What is it that's unique about the plug that is so proprietary? And right now with the technology USB-C, the most recent charger adapter, is that it allows high-speed charging. It allows to adapt on the ability of sending information at super high speeds. But Apple is not letting up without a fight. So European Union says, as of the year 2023, all of the cables for Apple products will have to be universally connected or don't sell them. You're not allowed to sell them in Europe. And why is this? The big argument is, why do we have, there's so much waste, electric waste. We're talking cables and wiring. And every time we did upgrade, it was, you had to buy another cable. Not just one, you had to get two. Because why would you want to carry your cable with you, right? So you have to have one at home, one in the car, one at the office, or maybe two at the office. So this whole argument is that European Union has stated that this will help reduce the amount of waste that goes into our landfill due to the always upgrading our wiring system. So that's good news. Here's the argument from Apple is by you telling us that we have to create this universal plug-in, this is going to become something of a bigger issue because we have 10 million metric tons of waste that will be garbage. So Apple's argument is, well, they're already using it. They've already got the cables. Why would we make all of that garbage? And now you're going to have to create more adapters, more connectors, and they're not going to work. So it really is a question, Bill. You have to ask this question. Yay, we're all going to go to the universal. Their advertisement was the spoon. The spoon in Japan is the same as the spoon in USA. There's no different spoon. So I guess the real debate is, are we really going to be putting 10 million metric tons of weight cables and wiring into the landfill? Or is it more universal long-term to be able to get USB-C? I don't know the answer to that, but it is a great question to ask.
And it's an ongoing problem. It has been for years. In my car, which I got, I guess about a year ago now, it's got the jack with it.
That's right.
And it's got three things on it.
Right.
And they're all bundled together. Because I figured, they don't know what kind of phone the person buys the car's going to have. So, my daughter wants to charge the phone. She's got to use this one. I want to charge my Apple phone. I use it. But they're all there.
They're all there, yes.
So good on these guys for thinking of that. But this would make everything a lot easier for everybody.
Well, it would be intriguing to see as this is one step to the next phase. Because phase one is, let's all get a universal mobile charging unit. Then it will be a universal charging unit for laptops and tablets. And really, this has been one of the key features of Apple is that they've created the dongle, which we've talked many times, is Apple doesn't have a lot of peripherals. You can't plug in your headphone jacks like you have. So, in that case, you have to buy a dongle. So Apple is really going to be pushing hard at this. And it's going to be intriguing to see, are they going to win the battle in the European Union with the universal cable?
By the way, since you brought up headsets.
Yes, bringing that to the point.
And no jack on the Apple anymore.
Yeah.
There is an adapter, by the way. If you're just OCD about it like I am.
Yeah.
You can get, I think it's $3.50. It's not expensive at all. I get it at Best Buy.
Right.
And you just plug it in where you usually charge your phone, and then you plug your headsets into that, and you're off to the races.
Well, but again, all of this is electrical waste if you think about it, because the next iPhone that you may get or not get in the next 2 years, what are you using? iPhone 8, 7, something like that, 11?
8.
8? So your phone is technically obsolete next year. I mean, they've already made the announcement. So when you go to upgrade,
I may be obsolete.
I'm
still going to use it.
Man, this is getting personal. That was where I was going, Bill. So my point was that when you go to upgrade with the new, 11X or whatever 14X Apple, this is going to be a serious, because you would have to create or develop or purchase more adapters and so forth. So
I know.
Just all the waste that's going out there in the landfill when we talk about not just the hardware itself, it's all these adapters and dongles that is really filling up the oceans with plastic and otherwise.
Okay, let's. We could go on about this forever and ever, but we'll see what the update's going to be and how Apple's going to respond to this. What's going on with Google?
Well, there is a serious situation which we talk about Google's privacy and Facebook's privacy. They've been obviously trying to make us as society feel comfortable that we own the information we store.
But you shouldn't be comfortable.
You shouldn't be comfortable the fact that they've got this. Well, they've had a situation, and this is going to happen. It's computers. And as much as I like to think computers are perfect and robotics is going to solve the world's problems of issues, it's still a challenge. And one of the problem was Google announced in the fall that you can now download all your digital assets. You can download all your photos, any document that you put in Google Cloud, they have an ability, you can download it. Well, in this process, people were downloading a copy of their files and images and so forth. And I guess there was a little bug. And so many people were getting photos and videos of someone else. So a lot of their files were crossing each other. So you might have been downloading and saying, I'm going to get a hard copy, or I'm going to get a backup of my files from Google. And you got all of my home videos and all my photos from Adam Oldfield. So there was a big outcry of, geez, Google, do you really get how privacy works? Because you're more or less just making it really easy for everyone to download whatever they're uploading. So Google's got a fix to the problem, but just so you know, if you're downloading your files and you do see images or video of someone else, it's because Google had a little bug in their system and again, how scary can that be? So who can imagine? But they claim they're working on it. It's not been fixed yet, but they're going to be addressing the ability to download your backup files will not include other people's photos or videos.
They hope.
They truly hope, yes.
Hey, Google, help me hack into Adam's account.
Now, speaking of which, on the Google, just to sideway this is something I'm going to release, and it's only for a limited time. I realized this yesterday. If you Google search, and again, I know Google's going to be upset, and so will the CRTC, but I figured this is a neat hack. Speaking of this, sorry to jump into that. If you Google a movie, okay, so Ghostbusters, Google Doc, it will pull up the movie. So if you put any movie,
kidding?
No, it's a flaw. I mean, it was actually discovered on TikTok, and one of the girls in my office, her son's 5 years old, and he told me this. So I did this, and I'm looking it up. So I'm looking up Ghostbusters, Saturday Night Fever. I'm looking at all of these movies, like the Bullet. I'm looking at Casablanca. All you do is type the movie, then space Google Doc in your search bar, and it will pull up the full movie. I'm sure it's only going to be a limited time, but there's a flaw in the Google Drive that you can download and watch any movie right now.
You type in the title of the movie first.
The title of the movie, then Google, and then Doc, D-O-C, and it will pull up that movie.
Not doc, just Doc?
Just Doc, D-O-C.
Google Doc.
Yeah, and it will pull up that movie. Any movie.
I'll try it this afternoon.
I was typing Ghostbusters. Any movie, yes. Frozen was on there. I mean, none of the newer ones, but any of the movies from probably 2017. There's got to be a bug if someone's uploaded a movie or used it just talking about access to files. I'm sure it's going to be only a limited time that you'll be able to get that. So,
but this is helpful. I mean, when I'm in the afternoon, when I get home after I walk the dogs and everything like that, invariably I'll sit, you know what, I just need to unwind. I want to watch a movie. I don't want Crave has a top. It's crap. I don't know.
Right.
And so it's really hit and miss. And not Netflix, it's just, I've seen that one. That one. So this is a new opportunity for me.
Well,
they're probably closing it down as we speak.
I'm willing to bet it was working as of yesterday afternoon. It was so funny because this 5-year-old actually says, "Have you seen this?" And my girl in my office goes, "Hey, I bet you already know this." And I'm like, "No, what are you?" And anyway, I was looking up every movie I remember from Back to the Future, Star Wars. And the full movie pops up inside Drive. There's no, it's not home movies. It's somebody probably backed it up and Google searched it, crawled it, and it will pull up that file. So anyway, whatever, name of the movie, then the word Google Doc, and you'll be I guess it's like a Blockbuster online without the movie fees.
Half the people listening say, Blockbuster. What's a Blockbuster? Yeah. It was only about 10 years ago, people.
That's right. Sorry.
This was not a good week for BlackBerry.
No, but you know what? And understandably so. BlackBerry, as we know, they've really focused on security and software. They have the whole Quantum, their Q series, which is in a lot of vehicles. But they were licensing out their hardware to a company called TCL, which was an investment company out of China. Well, let's go over the clear facts. China has a lot of problems with phones right now when it comes to licensing the Android unit, which, by the way, BlackBerry was operating off of. So TCL was made the announcement that they are no longer going to be creating BlackBerry hardware any longer due to the fact that 10% of that company was owned by the Republic of China government. And we know the tariffs and the embargoes that have been set up on China from the United States limits a lot of the Chinese software to be able to come out. Now, in light of that, it won't be a BlackBerry because they're licensed exclusively with Android for their security reasons and otherwise. However, it was announced also this week that the operating system called Harmony OS, which is under Huawei, is launching, and on that will be all of the Chinese manufacturers will be migrating to this. This is very big, Bill. Why? Because Android, as we know, is very popular due to the fact that it's running off of all of these Chinese manufactured inexpensive phones. The Harmony OS is launching in the next week, and it will be on the Huawei. It will be on the OnePlus. It will be on possibly the TCL. They've made the announcement they are going to look at this. Harmony is going to be the new operating system that is run by the Republic of China and will be utilized in all of the new phones that will be manufactured coming out to get away from that sanctions that President Trump put on anybody that's using software out of China.
Yeah, strange stuff going on with that. I don't want to get into.
Yeah, well, we won't get into that.
Let's not bring him up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Google Maps instead.
Well, you know what? Google Maps, I like to brag about. I say this all the time. If you want something, you go to Google Maps. They're always bringing up all these great ideas and all these elements that are really cool. Apple has announced in the United States they've redid all their maps. They worked with TomTom. They've really redesigned it, and they made the announcement last year at the keynote. But it launched, and that's very exciting because now the United States, if you're in the US, you're going to have the option of traveling with a better mapping system. Now, on Google Maps, to sort of continue, we always talked about this. When you want to know traffic with Google Maps, the truth of the matter is you want to listen to 900 CHML when you want your weather traffic.
Sure.
But if you're going to use your Google Maps and you're traveling somewhere for a destination, you would sometimes see it's red or there's a little bit of a traffic jam or slow to get to Toronto or whatever. Well, a gentleman in Germany did a little test, and this was genius. It was actually, he recorded it, and he put 100 cell phones in a wagon. And then what he did was he hooked them all up to Google, and he put them as if they were connected with location services, and he pulled the wagon down the middle of the street. Now, it would be equal to going down Barton Street with a wagon full of 100 cell phones with Google Maps. And sure enough, because 100 phones at the same time in the same area were moving at the pace of less than 1 kilometer per hour, it showed a traffic jam. And he was using this as an example, and he was monitoring it back, and it was a great science experiment. And what it proved was that Google Maps is using this motion of all these cell phones as a collective understanding of how traffic's going. Now, we assumed that's what they did. No one was making a claim of that. But it's a proven fact. Google Maps is being tracked by the pace of which phones are moving. So anyway, it was a very interesting how traffic jams can be created when there really isn't any.
Lots more to talk about, but we're going to have to do it next week. By the way, it works. I just pulled up Skyfall.
Did you? Yeah. See? I told you. I told you.
Watch that when I get off in a few minutes. We'll see you next Friday. Thanks for this.
Perfect. Thanks, Bill.
TechTalk. Adam Oldfield's here every Friday, and we'll rename the show at the appropriate time. We got to take a quick break. The CHMI Health Show coming up in a couple of seconds as well.